This is a Hope 1032 podcast.
G'day, Gorgi. Thanks so much for joining us on She Wasn't Born Yesterday. If there's one thing we love almost as much as your company, it's giving you freebies. And in light of recent events, I reckon we could all use a little pick-me-up. So keep listening to our episode on empty nesting to find out how to score your free gift. And lots of love from Dr Amelia and me. To She Wasn't Born Yesterday for women who are 40 plus fabulous by the Empty Nest Chicks. I'm Janet Evans, ex-M&C Saatchi advertising creative who have won numerous radio and TV awards. Not that that'll affect us because we're doing a podcast.
And I'm Dr Amelia Haines, who has been a medical doctor for 30 years and specialising in sexual health and mental health and relationships, and I'm generally a very useful human being.
Well, we'll find out about that, but we are here to work together.
People tell me on good authority that I am.
Really? Yes, well, they never say that to me, so I think we're the perfect hosts for She Wasn't Born Yesterday. Dr Amelia, we have written a book.
We have.
And we wrote a book about empty nest syndrome. Mm-hmm. When I came to you and said, would you like to work with me on a book about empty nest syndrome? Yeah. You were a little bit shocked.
I was very shocked. No. I was completely shocked because we're on radio, so people don't know what you're like in real life. But you are absolutely the last person that people would think would have empty nest syndrome.
Right.
In fact, when I tell people that I've written such a book with a certain person who had it, who had the experience of it quite awfully, they go, and look at me like they think you'd be a certain person. I go, No, it's not what you think.
It happened.
She is the coolest thing. Like, she's not someone who just lived for her child, had nothing else in her life. I was shocked because you are not that person. Of course you love him, but you have so much going on in your life. You don't have nothing going in your life except for your son.
I mean, we're not called the Empty Nest Chicks for nothing. But, I think for me it's interesting because a lot of mums and dads do go through what's called empty nest syndrome, or that's the sort of label it's given, right? Which is essentially feeling really grief when your kid leaves home. But I think for me it was probably worse because it happened during COVID.
Yes, I think it probably was worse.
Okay.
I think that would explain quite a bit with you, actually.
Yes. Because, I knew he was going to get married. It was all brought forward because of COVID. And that was a really good thing. I was really excited for them. But it happened literally overnight. Because they were going to bring in that rule that said you can only have 5 people at a wedding, which is you could have 20 people at a funeral, which just didn't make sense to me.
No, that's crazy.
Including one who's not actually alive. So, what's the justice in that? I was pretty devastated at that because I thought, we're going to miss out on this massive event. In the morning at 9 o'clock, they decided to get married. 5 o'clock, they were married, and then he was out the door. Yeah. And so the next day, I remember, I just brought in some laundry or something for his socks or something. And it just hit me. Yeah. He was never going to be in that bedroom again. Well, not as our child under our roof sort of.
He wasn't going for a holiday.
No.
He was gone.
He was gone. Gonski. Yeah. I think it just hit me like a ton of bricks and I couldn't get over it. But also I think because of COVID, it meant that we weren't going out to work.
No, you're very stuck.
Very stuck, and sort of the room was there, it was a constant reminder and I couldn't bring myself to throw things out and do all that sort of change it around, all that kind of thing. So as a medical person, what actually is this empty nest syndrome that we're sort of talking about?
Yeah, I know. Well, it's kind of not a proper syndrome. It's a made-up one. It's a made-up one, yeah. Because what it is, as far as all the psychologists and psychiatrists of the world would think of it, is actually an adjustment disorder. It is a disorder, not a syndrome. It's an adjustment disorder, and we go through them all the time. People, you're not weird and extraordinary. It happens all the time for all sorts of reasons, and even for good reasons. When we get married ourselves, we can go through an adjustment disorder. Often we do. So even good things, moving house, which can be very positive, also brings on an adjustment disorder in a lot of people. Those things do it, and death of someone that we actually really love a lot will also do it to us. So it's kind of big life events sometimes aren't dealt with by the person as well as they normally deal with life's changes.
Small events, or because I mean a big event is a big thing to come to grips with, right? So I mean I suppose too, if it's kind of sort of suddenly happens when you weren't expecting it.
Well, unexpected death brings it on more often than unexpected death. Things like that, definitely suddenness.
Actually, it's interesting because you said in the book that even though a child leaving home permanently isn't bereavement, it's got that echo.
Oh, it does. It totally does. Yeah.
But why is that? I mean, because you're going to see them again, right?
Well, it's a bit like getting married ourselves. It has that echo too of life is changing. Life is going to change and it will never go back. It will never go back. So it's the fact that it's never going to be the same as it was. And it's that kind of feeling, sometimes for whatever reason, personality and also to do with other circumstances can make us less able to cope with that kind of never again.
Yeah, but also I wonder if you have a great relationship with your kid, because in our book we looked at a huge range of different types of parents and different types of kids. But it didn't always seem to be. You'd assume that if you got on better with your kid that you would miss them more when they go. But actually that wasn't the case.
No, it's not always.
I was surprised about that.
Not always.
Yeah, because like if you've had a difficult relationship with your child, chances are you might worry about them more when they leave.
And yet some people will wave them off with such happiness.
Right.
And some people wave off the children who they love the most.
Yeah.
With a heavy, heavy heart. So it's very variable, or with total happiness.
And so you can't really...
You can't predict it. You can't predict it. Yeah. There are certain things, the suddenness is definitely one of them. There are certain other things that would make you go, ooh, I think I'm at risk, or they're at risk of having the syndrome. The other thing is the syndrome, though extremely unpleasant, doesn't necessarily last all that long.
No.
Some people, it'll be on them for about 6 weeks and then they start to emerge. They start to adjust.
Yes.
They do start to adjust. So, yeah.
And I guess that's why it isn't talked about a huge amount, because people do sort of, it's this phase that you go through and then you kind of, you're fine, you're not fine, and then you're fine again. So it's kind of like people move on mostly.
Yeah.
What concerns me sometimes is when I see, particularly on social media, friends I know who've become single mums and they might have a, 8-year-old kid or something like that. They talk about their kid as being my whole world, my universe. The sun revolves around you. I love you to the moon and back and more. All of that, which is great. But that heavy, heavy sort of reliance to me on that child.
And your child will be listening. Your child will be on social media and they will be listening.
Eventually, when they turn 13.
Yeah. They will be. Yeah.
But I worry about that because I feel like if you're putting so much emphasis on your child to give you that sense of love, that sense of being needed, that's surely going to make it a
Well, like I say, there are sometimes
difficult.
people where you go, oh, I think they're lining themselves up for some problems here. Yeah.
Tell us about you, because you are a partial empty nester. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, so 3 of my 5 have left home, so I still have 2 little rabbits floating around. I don't like change. I'm not actually I have no desire to have adventures and live particularly adventurously. So anyone would say from the outside perhaps that I was going to be more at risk. But I think I've always thought they were moving home from the moment they came out of the womb.
Really?
Yeah, I think I've always just been aware that that's what life does.
Well, that's very mature of you.
Yeah, I know. Oh, my goodness. I'm so mature. It's disgusting. I disgust myself sometimes. Actually, I think maybe because my dad died when I was 10, which is the worst thing in the world, because I don't like change. And he was awesome. He was completely awesome. And it was sudden. I think maybe age 10, I kind of went, okay, life does this. Life does this. And there's no reason why it shouldn't. There's absolutely no reason why it shouldn't, and I should expect it.
Yeah, right.
And so ever since then, I haven't welcomed it. Like, you know, I really don't like change, but I've always gone, it's going to happen. And at times it's going to happen when I really, really don't want it to. And that's just the way it is. That's the way it is, baby. Yeah.
So 3 of them have left, but did you miss the first one a lot and then the other 2 not so much, or how did it sort of
they're all
out?
different personalities. So I would say it's a bit variable.
Okay. They'll probably be listening, so you can't say too much, but, you know.
Yeah, they'd totally cope anyway.
Right,
they'd totally cope.
But what about when the last one leaves? Do you think that's going to be a big adjustment disorder for you?
No, no, actually, I don't. I think I'll be sad. And actually, all of my children are quite kind of bonded, and well, except one, who is much more independent. So I think they'll find it hard too, and I know that we'll all find it hard. And so, actually, part of my job as a mother is to help them not find it too hard. Yeah.
Oh man, you're so mature. I wish I'd thought of all that.
Yeah.
I think I just sailed along, not really. No, I just. For some reason, it never crossed my mind.
It is my job.
This is going to happen.
It is my job to think about these things, so I do.
Can this empty nest syndrome sort of grief, can that kind of spiral down into depression?
Because, yeah, it totally does.
Right,
like it can. I'm not saying it does. Like it doesn't have to, but it can. It can really grab hold and end up in depression, yeah.
I feel like, you know, at 40 plus fabulous, you know, which a lot of mums will be when their kids are leaving, could also coincide with a few other things like menopause, like perhaps even retirement, or perhaps being made redundant, perhaps relationships are breaking down.
Actually, heaps of relationships only hang in there until, you know, a child leaves home or goes to uni or something. Yeah, a lot of those big life events can all happen at pretty much the same time.
Yeah. It's cool because I've kind of hooked into a little, you know, some Facebook groups who are empty nest support groups and that sort of thing, just to see what's going on. But yeah, like a lot of them are like, oh, you know, suddenly I'm single, and it's like, it's devastating to hear that the marriage just sort of hung together for the kids, you know, like, but then very alone when the husband's gone as well, you know, and something like that. So, very complex kind of age to be in, I guess.
Actually, I'd say people, I don't want to say only women, but certainly women probably primarily are very at risk, actually, at this kind of time of life because so much can be taken away from you or just leave suddenly.
Yes. When we wrote our book, we also found that actually dads feel it just as keenly, but they just show it in different ways, don't they? You know, they'll be repurposing the room, they'll be going down to Dan Murphy's and getting a case of beer to celebrate, or, you know, or noticing the electricity bill is a lot smaller. Or,
Yes.
Actually, one of my friends said the best time for him was when he gets a call from his son who got married, left home to get married, to come over and put up a cupboard or, you know, help them buy a car or something like that. So he still feels needed.
No, I think all of those kind of things are so important that we do still have those really unique, special, no one can really take your place kind of moments with your child.
Because I think that's part of the reason you feel so sad is, or it can be, because your role as a mum is not as a mum, but just that same relationship, that role is made redundant.
Well, I don't know. No, I don't know.
You disagree?
Yes,
you disagree?
I think, yes, I so disagree. I think it just looks different. What you experienced is that you and Jasper's relationship was just suddenly, it just looked different. But you'll always be his mum and you're super important to him. His new wife hasn't usurped you in any way, shape or form. Like there is nothing that can replace his relationship with you.
I mean, I get that on an intellectual level, but in a practical way, I think too, just the little things you might do around the house for them, or, you know, or what I think I missed the most was the shift from being his somewhat of a confidant, like being the main kind of woman in his life, to I could tell he was phasing me out of that role, which was very smart of him and very wise.
He was phasing you out. That one wasn't sudden. He was phasing you out.
And I knew he was doing it, and I could tell, but it didn't make it hurt less. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was like I knew, I could see what was happening, but it was like, I'm not liking this. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
That's when I started confiding in you. As you know, you were a surrogate. You know, you took his place, and I came around and cooked you meals, and I did your washing. And
Jen Evans, such a liar. Yes. Anyway, yes.
But we talk about the idea of things you can do through your relationship to future-proof, I guess, your future, you know, without, you know, assuming and hoping, I think, for their good that they do leave at some point. But what are some of those things?
Well, I think stop kidding yourself that it's not going to hurt. Like, of course it's going to hurt. So kind of go, as you hold that little baby in your hands, go, one day you need to leave, and that is going to hurt like Billy-O. But kind of think about it even then when you're holding that little one in your arms. And I think having kind of special things that you do that are just the two of you. I know there are special things that you and Jasper share. And to all children, I have to say, I know I have 5 and you had him, but there are different things with every child. They're not all the same. So there are different things that I share with all my children. Actually, I'm going to share one of them this Sunday afternoon with one of my children.
Really? What's that
which
gonna
is
be?
Watching old movies. He likes to watch them up on the big screen. So I'm going to go, so that's one thing
Is this
that
the
you
youngest
can do.
one who's like 4?
No. This one is 23. So
that's awesome.
you know, it's different with every child. Actually, what are the unique things, probably there's going to be more than one, that you share with this entity, and that will be special forever.
So you're saying continue those traditions,
Yes.
even when they've left. Yeah. So that you still have that.
Those little bonds, those special bonds that are kind of unique to the two of you.
But you know, the other really important thing, I think, a big priority is to make sure that you continue to focus on your partner throughout the childhood. Like
that's a bigger one, Janet.
Having 5 kids, I mean,
being married's tricky.
Yes. It's very tricky, and people change over time. Plus, raising kids is so all-consuming, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
And being married to someone long term, like we're all irritating. You know, like myself included. Like I'm happy to say that I'm irritating. You know, it's just very irritating being with one person for a great deal of time.
But I think too there's that temptation or that sort of trend to focus exclusively on the kids, especially if some of them have like high needs or something like that, that you're so involved and immersed in their lives to the exclusion almost of your partner. So you kind of neglect that relationship in favour of the one with your kids. And I think a big learning that we express in the book is to really prioritise that main relation that you have.
Well, certainly to tend it. I think you just need to tend it.
Yes, get out
like genuine. It doesn't mean you have to. It's wrong to think you have to make every step in life together. You don't. But you do need to tend it.
Yes,
and like tend the things that the two of you love.
Because there is going to be that point where you kind of the kids have gone, and suddenly there's the two of you looking at each other in the spotlight.
And you need to have talked about it and kind of gone, okay, like, will you understand that actually I don't want to see you for lunch? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I do want to see you once a week for a great, you know, meal and conversation. Yeah. But I don't want to see you for lunch. Like, I will feel really hemmed in, and I love you to pieces, but I'll love you more if I don't see you all the time. Yeah. And people are different, you know. Yeah. People are very different. So some people would say, no, I want to kind of see you all the time.
But I think one of the other things that we explore is the idea of yourself, because you've spent such a long time focused on other people, like for 20, 30 years. You can reach the end of that and not actually have much that you've contributed to yourself to enrich your own life, interests or...
I think it's really important, which is not really our podcast audience. I would say, I think it's really important when you get married that you don't forget yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like right from the beginning, you need to care about yourself. Don't just think, oh, my partner's going to care about me or life's going to care about me. No, they're not.
Or I'm just going to care for my
You need to care about yourself.
Yeah.
The whole time.
And also, obviously, when you're an empty nester, you have much more time and freedom to be able to do the things that perhaps you've always wanted to do, like bonsai or, photography or, I don't know, martini making or, going to the Maldives and scuba diving.
Yeah, becoming an aged influencer.
Yes.
Yeah.
TikToking, stuff like that. So, which I think is a fantastic way also to kind of transition from one phase that was, all about these people and to the next phase, which is all about just me if you're on your own or us, the partnership again.
I mean, I don't think it ever needs to be just you.
No, that's true.
Even if you're a massive introvert, sure.
Are you an introvert?
Sure. Oh, I'm a massive introvert.
You are not an introvert.
I am I'm always being generous. I like you all, but honestly, I'd rather be on my own.
But isn't everybody a bit of a combo of those things?
Probably a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm just massively that way.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're not massively that way, in my experience.
Anyway, I was going
to
say, even if you're that kind of person, right from the beginning of your marriage or anything, I think you need to realise, actually, no one's an island. Start to line up the really good, important people in your life and don't neglect them, which actually will mean that you'll have to pull it out and give them an SMS. Let them know every, week or two that you are actually keeping up with what they're doing. Don't let your friendships go.
No. Oh, baby, no.
No, tend your important relationships.
Yes, nurture, get out that fertiliser and stuff like that, the sea salt. But one thing I was going to say was when my son Jasper left home to get married, one thing I found really difficult to figure out was how often do I stay in touch with him, because now that whole dynamics changed. There's obviously a new person is like, you know what I mean?
Well, yes. Even there, I'd say I don't think there's a rule. I think it needs to just be what it needs to be between the two of you.
Yeah, but the thing I was really conscious of was because I often used to sort of bombard him. I'm sure you find that really hard to believe.
No, she's such a bombarder. Okay, guys, she is a bombarder. Okay.
And, with, look at this hilarious meme or, like some joke or just some little thing that I thought, he'd find funny or whatever. But I was really quite reluctant to do that, and I think I kind of stepped right back because I didn't want to interfere. I didn't want to.
I think Janet Evans is telling us so much about herself right now. Yeah, I think this is quite revealing.
I just felt that would be really awkward, and also I didn't want to just be communicating with him.
Well, send her one too.
As his mum. Yeah, well, now I do. Now we're all on a group chat and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But it just took a little while to sort of, I'm just going to give them some space. I'm just going to give them some space.
Yeah.
But that whole figuring out thing is also tricky, I think. Also, I think raising your kids through their late teens to adulthood when you know that flight is going to take place, that's a kind of a different part of parenting too, isn't it? That's so different from the early years.
Yeah. They don't need you so much.
Yes.
They're starting to disengage. When I say disengage, I don't mean it horribly, even if they don't listen to you. But they are starting to emerge, which is really important. And don't be that person in your life who hung on to you even though they needed to release you. But do you know, like every relationship's different, and I can remember hearing about an adult male who we both know, and I'll tell you who it is later.
Oh, tell me on
and he was saying that when something good happens to him, he rings his mum. And we're talking about a man, in his 40s and 50s when he told me this. He'd ring his mum. His first instinct, he was 40 plus fabulous. His first instinct was to ring his mum.
But is that right? I mean, is he in a relationship?
Fine.
Is he married?
Yes, he's so married. He's got 4 grown-up children.
But he rings his mum. But how does his wife feel about that?
Fine.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, she'd rather not hear about it.
No, she knows about it too, but he'll ring his mum and say, hey, guess what happened today?
Really?
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Oh, wow, I find that a bit odd. I mean...
Do you? I don't...
Personally, I mean, it's kind of sweet. It's nice for her, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
No. I think that's healthy.
The one thing that I really enjoyed exploring in the book, which is called Empty Next. Is emptiness syndrome kind of a Western syndrome thing? Because, you know, we all live such sort of
Individualised, isolated lives, yeah.
Whereas in some other cultures, they're much more of a melded family, the extended family. Therefore, I wondered if they
don't leave so much. They kind of just get added on in the extension.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. But it was interesting because there's research that says, especially in China where they had the one-child policy, was they're just as devastated.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think, like I was saying to you, it's kind of change. It's change.
Yeah.
Like it's to do with the change. That's what adjustment disorder comes from.
But even if you had a lot of other people around you, a lot of extended family, that one person leaving, it just shows.
There is a change.
Yes.
So you're
Huge
reacting to the change.
Yeah, fascinating. You know, we wrote this book because we wanted to explore the topic, and we also talked to a lot of kids who'd flown the nest as well. And I found that fascinating to hear about how their relationship with their parents had changed after they left. Some of them it was almost transformation because some of them hadn't gotten along with their parents very well when they were with them.
And it was a
home.
good transformation.
Yes. But since they left, it was like we get on so much better and we've actually found this thing like, you know, watching old movies or something like that in common that's actually really enjoyable that they can do with their parents. And I guess it's just operating on an adult level with them rather than there being that hierarchy that's in the parent-child
so things
situation.
have changed, but it can change and everyone gets used to it in quite a positive direction.
Yeah. And others didn't get on with, like, if they were married, they didn't get on with the in-laws. And that was interesting as well.
Yeah. It's hard to get on with in-laws, I think.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I do.
Why do you think that is?
Why? Because the way things are done is so different to what you're used to. And if the people involved aren't particularly generous, it can be more awkward. Whereas if you're kind of aware and generous, then it's not so irritating. So I think as an in-law, you need to go, yep, I need to swallow the way that I would do things, know that there's a very different person who was brought up in a different way, and I need to be my best self. I need to be super generous. Janet, like, you know, surprise. We're not always that fantastic about being our best selves.
It's true.
Yeah. Like, I think it comes down to that, and everyone should just forgive themselves and go, actually, no, I think I was a little bit not my best.
Yeah.
But, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm a human and try to be a better self. But we're not always our best self. We're not.
Sometimes life gets in the way.
Yeah.
It was good to know also that plenty of celebrities have admitted emptiness syndrome. So I was surprised that Gordon Ramsay's written quite openly about how he was gutted. That's the word he used, gutted, when his kids left for college. And he said he sat on his son's bed, put on a pair of his son's trousers and just bawled his eyes out. And this is Gordon Ramsay. You know what I mean?
I think they leave very young. They leave very young. So, like how understandable that he had a big ball and so did you. How totally understandable.
Right? And I think the surprise factor, that you kind of thought you were ready, but actually you weren't. Maybe you thought you were ready and you were as ready as you could be, but the reality of it was more overwhelming than you expected.
Yeah.
You're a doctor because you don't seem surprised. So, you know, but
that doesn't take away from being hard. Like I'm nodding and agreeing, but it doesn't take away from being hard. Yeah. I think I'm just certainly to myself, I'm quite forgiving. Like if I go, this is pathetic, that I'm having a cry about this because I knew it was coming.
Right, exactly.
But actually I go, oh well, how very understandable.
Yeah, but I think, you know, your idea of the minute they're born is thinking, you know, okay, they're going to be adults and going to fly the nest. I just can't believe I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Actually, I can remember a lot of young mums when I was a young mum saying, I wouldn't cope if they died, blah, blah, blah. And I think, yes, you would cope. Like it's very important, I think, that we realise that though we love them unbelievably, like it's just crazy town, that actually we would survive them dying. And it's important that we realise, actually, no, we would. We'd breathe in, we'd breathe out, we'd keep on going. We'd be fantastic for our friends and family and whatever. whatever, in whatever roles we have, you are not one-dimensional.
Especially if they saw a counsellor like you, because you would help them through that. I can tell.
You're very kind.
That's true. I think sometimes you need it, but, you need a helping hand. You need, someone to support you through that.
Well, I was going to say probably everyone, as well as the new baby, should be given a pass to go and see a therapist of their choosing, and like a pairing up kind of system, and just keep seeing that person once a month for the rest of your life. If you like them, like make friends, become partners with any kind of counsellor really who suits you, and go, okay, this is just really helpful that I go and kind of have an emotional vomit
100%.
to someone else who isn't my spouse or child or best friend. Share the love around.
Or write a book with them. Or do a podcast or something like that. I think it's fantastic. Well, gorgeous. Look, we really hope this book helps people.
Yes, yes.
And we would love to give away a couple of copies to anyone who's listening. So if you're listening and you'd like a copy,
tell us your name so that we can give it a little personal touch.
Yes.
Yeah.
All you have to do is go to the win page of hope1032.com.au. Gorgeous. Well, it's been amazing talking to you about our Empty Next book, which is available on Amazon if you want to buy it. And it's to really help people who are going through or approaching, or just when your kids are really young, to help sort of avert that shock that I got, when it actually happens. Yeah. So, Empty Next.
Okay.
Out now on Amazon.
Absolutely.
You.
Bye.
See you, gorgeous.
See you.
We love chatting, and we really look forward to all of our special guests and to just chatting with you guys. And we'd actually love to hear from you. We'd love you to send us flowers. I'm a dark chocolate person. What about you? You're protein bar for Dr. Amelia?
I am. I'm so healthy. It's disgusting.
But, we'd love to know if there's burning issues for you. Contact us on hopepodcast.com.au if there's issues that you'd like us to talk about, or you really want explored, or you think you'd be an expert on. Hit us up and come on the podcast. Come on our journey with us. We look forward to your company.
Hope 1032. Thanks for listening.